Terri Harris. What do a solar cell and a sandwich have in common? Do you make a sandwich and think of a solar cell? Do you think of a sandwich when you ride by a solar cell? Today we're going to figure out what they have in common and why. Terri Harris, and I'm a retired teacher, mostly science and math, and I love teaching science. So today we're going to make a solar cell sandwich. You ever ride down the road and you see solar farms? Or you ride by a house and it has solar panels, or maybe your house has solar panels on it, and you're trying to figure out, well, what's happening in that solar panel? Well, solar panels are not flat, and they're sort of different things sandwiched together. It's like a sandwich that you make with bread and meat. So we're going to make a solar cell sandwich and compare it to a regular sandwich today so that we can figure out what's inside of a solar cell that makes it work. Now, this is the current technology of most of the solar cells that we see as we drive around, but it's not what's coming up next. It's going to be even more exciting, but this is what we're seeing right now. For this activity, you're going to need some construction paper. You're going to need some sort of yarn or string, or maybe even thread would work. You'll need some tape, you'll need a pair of scissors, and you'll need a ruler. And you'll need something to write with. You might need a pencil if you'd rather, or you can use a black marker. You need plastic bags, and they can be Ziploc bags or the kind that fold over. First of all, we're going to start and cut our construction paper. Now, to use a standard baggie, it will work best if you cut about 5.5 inches across and 6 inches down. And I make my lines and then I connect them. Being very careful with your scissors and making sure that you use them the correct way that you use scissors. And so then you have a piece of paper, 5.5 by 6. After you've cut your first piece of paper, you can use that as your guide to cut your other pieces of paper. You can either trace it or just cut it if you're a good cutter. They should be about the same size. And you have to cut it one of each color. You need a yellow one, a green one, a red one, and an orange one. Or if you don't have these colors, you could use some other color that you have at home, as long as you use 5 different colors. The next step is to take each of your pieces of paper and label them. Now, the yellow is a little bit different because we're going to make a back to it, because every solar panel, even if it's flexible, has to have a back. So we're going to kind of make it a little bit grayish with our pencil. Then we're going to turn it over. And on the back side of it, we're going to write backing. B-A-C-K-I-N-G. So that's your backing. The next layer is going to be a green. We're going to take the green layer. Now, like I said, you can use any colors that you want to as long as you label them. The next one is silicon, and it's the negative. Then we're going to do the red. It's also a silicon layer, and it's a positive layer. Now this one you can't see through. This orange one you can't see through, but it is the anti-reflective coating layer. And that's a big word, anti-reflective, because we don't want all the light to be reflected back into space. We want the photons and the light to hit our panels. So this is an anti-reflective coating, ANTI-REFLECTIVE, and then coating, COATING. And finally, we'll take the last piece, and this is our top. And this is also the grid. The first piece of bread is like your backing on your solar panel. The second thing on the sandwich is your meat. So I'm going to put some turkey on this piece of bread. That's like the silicon, the part that's negative. Then I'm going to put some ham in there. And that's like the silicon that is positive. See, the silicon is the same, but we're going to move some electrons from the positive to the negative, and from the negative to the positive, and that's what gives us electricity. So we have two different meets, but they're both meets. Then, because we're getting the light from the sun, and it has photons, we want to not reflect any of that light back, so we can get all this electricity that we possibly can get from this. So we're going to put cheese as our next layer, so our bread doesn't get dried out. And then our final layer is the top of our solar panel, or our grid, and that's our sandwich. Now that we have assembled our sandwich, we're going to assemble our solar panel. Now we have our backing, and we're going to put our first layer of silicon there. But in order to keep our panel together, we're going to just roll a small piece of tape on one corner, I think. We don't need it everywhere. Then we're going to take one of our pieces of string, and our string is cut to it's about a little bit longer than the piece is wide. As long as it's longer, it's okay. And this is how the electrons turn into electricity and get moved around. So we're going to put tape and tape this down on this layer. There's also some activity on the second layer of silicon, and we're going to put it right down here. We're going to put another one just like that, and we're going to tape it down as well. And we have to remember not to remember that we haven't taped this down, so we're going to put another piece of tape on the back of this. We'll just put it right there. Okay. Now we need that all-important anti-reflective coating. So we'll take some tape, we'll roll it, we'll put it on the back, and we'll put it on as the next layer of our solar cell. We'll take our final piece, which is our top grid. Now there is no grid on here right now, and one of the things that you can do is to take and just draw some lines on this piece of paper so that you have a grid, and you can do it before or after you put it on the panel, okay? And if you don't want to put any, you don't have to, but you can. And I would put a couple on this one. We'll put one on each corner just because it might come apart. Okay, and then we slide all of this inside of our sandwich bag, because that's what protects our solar panel from the weather. Silicon is one of the most abundant elements we have. In fact, this is sand, and this came out of the sandbox in my backyard. Silicon is the major ingredient in sand. So it's pretty easy for us to find silicon here on this planet Earth, and we've just begun to learn how to use it. In fact, a weird fact, the year I was born was the first time that a solar cell was created using silicon.